I got the TV up super loud up there. Auntie, yes, we did. We got it. We got out of there before it started snowing. They said like flurries was going to start at like 9. We didn't check out to noon, so it was just like when we checked out, it was just like sprinkling. It wasn't snow, not even flurries. So I'm not sure if they even got snow or not. I just know whatever they got, we missed it. So we got back home about 2:30 yesterday, safe and sound. Live. All right, beautiful people. Happy Monday. That's right. I'm gonna just read it from this again. So I already got it out. Mhm. All right, beautiful people. Happy Monday. It is January the 9th, 2023, day 310 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1329 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. Yes, I just said that. 13. Hold on. Make sure I have my count. So I didn't put it here. 7, 28. Yeah, day 1329 of year 4. I know I just said of year 4. Reading through the books of the law and the prophets. All right, y'all. Today we're gonna pick back up on the actual PDF document that's numbered at the top. I'm gonna still read from this page 5. It says page 565 here, but in big blue, if you're following along here, it would be chapter 14. Yeah, chapter 14 on page 656. Let me move on. And then when we get done here, we're going to pick up where we left off at yesterday and Field Guide to the Spirit World on page 222. We're just going to read that page over again because it was real short. Like, we literally didn't even read the whole page yesterday. All right, beautiful people. All right, y'all. Auntie, I already said hey. Don, what's good, family? Elizabeth Weaver Ray. Hi, says Vinette. Greetings, greetings. Jamia, shalom, shalom. Ema, shalom. Ma, shalom, shalom. Shebrew. All praises to the Creator. Derry, CM, shalom. Hannah, shalom, shalom. Nazarene, the scene, Faithist. What's going on, fam? And everybody else here hanging out in the background of both places, Facebook and YouTube. Top of the day to you. All right, y'all, let's get started. Okay. Remember, at the top of the document is page 565. chapter 12. According to Romance of the Red Star, it's chapter 12, but in Big Blue, their lowest edition, is chapter 14 on page 656. All right. For 300 years prior to the above transactions, the four false gods had been in war to a limited extent in their heavens and for certain earth possessions also. In China, the Kayuans had made great progress to the injury of the false Brahma and Ochesa, but the latter had pushed his people into Vidyu and Parsi. On the part of Kabbalah, the false Buddha, he had pushed his people into China and Parsi also, and in many parts of Vidyu, these Buddhists had treated the Brahmins with great slaughter. But neither of the above false gods was a match for God Gabriel. Under the name and doctrines of Mohammed, he made great inroads upon the possessions of the other two false gods, both as to the earth and the heavens thereof. Navaya, shalom, shalom, sis. You new here. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey. All right, y'all. Remember, y'all, Gabriel is ruling over Muhammad's people. Listen. But on the part of Kabbalic, the false Buddha, he had pushed his people into China and Parsi also, and in many parts of Vidyu, these Buddhists had treated the Brahmins with great slaughter, but neither of the above false gods was a match for God Gabriel. Under the name and doctrines of Mohammed, he had made great inroads upon the possessions of the other two false gods, both as to earth and the heavens thereof. And yet, on the other hand, Luamon, the false Christ, had taken advantage of all the other three false gods. He had found mortal emissaries in Western Europa whom he had inspired under the name East India Company. To these he said, "Come, I will lead you to where there is great wealth and most luxurious enjoyment. Behold, ye shall possess the place and overcome the heathen of a rich country." So Luamang led them, and they took with them missionaries, Bibles, swords, and cannons, and warships. And when they arrived at Vidyu, Luamang, through his angel host, said unto them, "Tell these heathen, ye are worshippers of the Lamb of peace, that ye have come in love and for righteousness' sake. And behold, they will receive you. And it shall come to pass, when ye are once within, ye shall fall upon them and destroy them by the million, men, women, and children." Sound like Christianity, ain't it? I mean, they don't necessarily say it in those words today, but they'll stand up for this. Let me read it again. "Tell these heathen, ye are worshippers of the Lamb of peace, that ye have come in love and for righteousness' sake, and behold, they will receive you. And it shall come to pass, when ye are once within, ye shall fall upon them and destroy them by the million, men, women, and children. And ye shall fall upon their aqueducts, which irrigate the lands, and ye shall destroy them also. And behold, millions of these heathen will starve. And millions of these heathen shall starve every year because of the famines that shall surely come upon them." Now all these came to pass. The idolaters of Luamang fell upon the Buddhist earthly possessions and possessed the land of Vidyu, and in the name of Christ and the Holy Ghost killed 7 million men, women, and children. And they also destroyed the aqueducts whereby famines came upon the Vidyuans, so that in course of time 30 million more perished of starvation. Now, although Kabbalah thus lost, in a great measure, his earthly possessions, he still maintained the heavens of Vidyu, so that Luamang really gained but few souls in heaven after all his destruction. Luamang had also led his mortal emissaries into China, in hope to possess that country also. He had said to them, "Go thither and enforce upon them the opium trade. And because thereof they will become a drunken and worthless people, and ye shall fall upon them and overcome them and possess all their country, wherein are stored great riches." I remember I was reading this offline, so y'all saw me staring at the screen, but I just didn't pull it back up this morning because I had this handy already, and I was running a few minutes behind. Okay. And the idolaters of the false Christ fell upon the Chinese and enforced the opium trade, and also made many of them a drunken and worthless people. And after they were thus drunk, the idolaters of the false Kabbalites raised a cry, "Behold, the drunken heathen, the indulgers in opium." Nevertheless, the Kayumas of China were a mighty power, and they baffled Lu Meng's emissaries in all further encroachments. Now, although Luomung had been beaten by the wisdom of God in possessing the colonies of Gautama, nevertheless, Luomung still hoped to regain the country himself. And to carry out his designs, he sent 2,000 million angel warriors to accomplish the destruction of the Algonquin tribes that inhabited the country. And the idolaters of Luomung fell upon the Algonquins and caused 3 million of them to be put to death, men, women, and children. Yep, that would be us, Shebro. Chapter 13. When the right time came, Jehovah spake to God, saying, "My son, behold, the Cosman era is near, and the light of the ark of Cosmon entered the fields of paradise. Stretch forth thy hand over the nations of the earth, and over the heavens thereof, and sweep clean thy kingdoms for my everlasting light. The four false gods, the perpetrators of the beast, will call out in agony, but thou shalt heed them not in my judgments." Then God sent forth his disciplined host, 12,000 million, to cut off the supplies of the earth, even as a mortal general cutteth off the supplies of a wicked city to subdue it. So was cut off the accumulated power of the four false gods, they that had proclaimed themselves the saviors of mortals and angels. And the angels of God spread around about the whole earth, in armies of millions and tens of millions, well disciplined. They gathered together in the mortal cities and in the country places amongst all nations, tribes, and peoples. And these angel armies were officered and drilled to work in concert with lines of light extending to the throne of God. And God spoke in paradise by means of the lines of light, and his voice went into all the mighty armies. And God spake in paradise by means of the lines of light, and his voice went into all the mighty armies of his host, the 12,000 million, saying, "Cut off the earth's supplies of the four beasts of the earth. They and their countless legions of followers have become profitless in the resurrection of mortals and angels. Their names have become a stench upon the earth. Their mortal followers are grovelers in all manner of uncleanliness. Their spirits their spirits have become as vagabonds on the earth and the heavens thereof. My hosts have tried to persuade them, but they will not hear. The light of the upper kingdoms they do not receive, but I will make them look up. Like beasts that are untamed, they shall cry out for sustenance, but they shall not find it in the places of their old haunts. Then the hosts of God marched in betwixt the Druhas, the worshippers of the four false gods, and their mortal harvest. And the Druhas turned to their respective gods, the false Brahma, the false Buddha, and Gabriel, and the false Christ, crying out, "Behold, our supplies are cut off. Is not the earth thy kingdom, and the place of thy footstool? Sayest thou not that thou wert almighty? How then hath another God come between them? If thou art indeed our Savior, now save us. But if thou hast been all this while deceiving, then shall hell be thy portion." The four false gods heard the cry of anger and suspicion in their mighty kingdoms, heard the wailings of the 60,000 million, and they feared and trembled. Most of all in fear was the false Christ, for sake of aggrandizing his own kingdom, he had had it proclaimed on the earth that whoever believeth in me shall be saved, but whosoever believeth not in me shall be in danger of hellfire. It's time to make good on this promise, homie. We need saving. Where you at? Tabitha, shalom, shalom. Listen. Behold, our supplies are cut off. Is not the earth thy kingdom, and the place of thy footstool? Saidest thou not that thou wert the Almighty? How then hath another God come between? If thou art indeed our Savior, now save us. But if thou hast been all this while deceiving, then shall hell be thy portion. The four false gods heard the cry of anger and suspicion in their mighty kingdoms, heard the wailings of the 60,000 million, and they feared and trembled. Most of all in fear was the false Christ, for sake of aggrandizing his own kingdom, he had it proclaimed on the earth that whosoever believeth in me shall be saved, but whosoever believeth not in me shall be in danger of hell fire. And countless millions of mortals had taken no thought as to self resurrection, but taken him at his word, and so had lived and died and become his slaves for hundreds of years. Millions of these angels had heavenly banners made with the promises of this false Lord inscribed thereon, and with these went in procession in heaven, crying out, "Bread or blood? Bread or blood? We come not to bring peace in heaven. We come to bring a sword. We come to set angel against angel." Hold on, I'm trying to find the place right here. Betwixt crying out, countless millions, right here at the bottom of the page, died. Yeah, okay. So what will be at in the lowest edition will be page 657, chapter 15, the last the top paragraph on the right side of the page. Yeah. Verse 15. Yeah, it splits verse 15 up. It's at the top of the page. Okay, that's where we at. All right. Behold, our supplies are cut off. Is not the earth thy kingdom and the place of thy footstool? Saidest thou not that thou wert almighty? How then hath another God come between? If thou art indeed our Savior, now save us. But if thou hast been all this while deceiving, then shall hell be thy portion. The four false gods heard the cry of anger and suspicion in their mighty kingdoms, heard the wailings of the 60,000 million, and they feared and trembled. Most of all in fear was the false Christ, for in sake of aggrandizing his own kingdom, he had it proclaimed on earth that whosoever believeth in me shall be saved, but whosoever believeth not in me shall be in danger of hell fire. And the countless millions of mortals had taken no thought as to self-resurrection, but taken him at his word, and so had lived and died and become his slaves for hundreds of years. Millions of these angels had heavenly banners made with the promises of this false Lord inscribed thereon, and with these went on in processions in heaven, crying, "Bread or blood? Bread or blood? We come not to bring peace in heaven, we come to bring a sword. We come to set angel against angel. Give unto us, O thou our God, or hell shall be thy portion." And the four false gods, fearing the fires of hell, went about crying out, "Oh, now, look, now you want to act like you got some sense, but it's a little bit too late for that. Listen. Give unto us, O thou, our God, or hell shall be thy portion. And the four false gods, fearing the fires of hell, went about crying out, "I am not the true Brahma. I am not the true Buddha. I am not the true God. I am not the true Christ." For they hope thereby to save themselves. But alas, for them, their thousands of millions fell upon their heavenly cities, palaces, and thrones and robbed them. And when their fury found vent, behold, the vast multitudes rushed the four false gods and fell upon them, beat them, suffocated them with foul smells, covered them up with suffocating gases, walled them in with sulfurous fires, and bought and they brought the officers and priests and monks and high officers and cast them into hells also, millions and millions of high ruling angels of the false gods. Kind of like we'll be down here And y'all, I ain't gonna say y'all because I know not y'all. Y'all ain't doing that no more. Y'all be crying out for help from some of your saviors that claim to be the God, the highest, the almighty, but 'tis not. Calling him by all types of names of man who was born on earth. One time, human beings, right? Y'all crying out to the wrong person, crying out to the wrong one. They is not. Hold on. What I was trying to. What is his name? What is that talk show host? They always be doing a paternity test. Maury. Test results. Everybody looking in suspense. They hear the test results from the paternity test. You are not the father. And of course, and here go the false gods taking off, running. Too late for that. You got a whole billion millions of people after you now. Ain't no getting away. All this time you done deceived all these people, and it's still happening. It's still happening. First time, it's still happening. Elisa, shalom, shalom. Look, and the four false gods. Let me just go back. And countless millions of mortals had taken no thought as to self-resurrection. All this time, they believe even after they pass their flesh back to the dirt, right? Because if you worshiping the wrong creator, like they go together, right? Birds of a feather flock together, right? Like and like. So if you die believing that this is your God, remember they don't die, like we never died. So they're still there. You're gonna get caught up in this first heaven because while you trying to pass away, hey buddy, where you been? We've been waiting for you, right? And you're gonna be fooled. You ain't even gonna be able to get past the first heaven, which is called Hada, or the church calls it hell, thinking it's below. It's not. When your spirit rises, or when it halfway rises, you're gonna still be stuck here on the earth realms, right? They ain't going nowhere, and they're gonna be there to greet you right at the door. The had you been crying out to true creator, right? When it's time for you to go, they preparing. The bus is ready for you. Matter of fact, you got a chauffeur. They're waiting for you, right? And when they come, and they ain't never late. They ain't never late. So you ain't got to worry about missing a bus or waiting around and people coming past offering you rides. Nope, they're waiting right there before you step out your flesh, right? And everybody else bag back, right? They ain't even got to say that. They see like, oh, okay, hey, y'all, hey, go. Come back about 5 minutes. Right? Listen. And countless millions of mortals had taken no thought as to self-resurrection, but taken him at his word, and so lived and died and became his slaves for hundreds of years. Millions of these angels had heavenly banners made with the promises of this false Lord inscribed thereon, and with these went in processions in heaven, crying out, bread or blood, bread or blood. We come not to bring peace in heaven, we come to bring a sword. We come to set angel against angel. Give unto us, O thou our God, or hell shall be thy portion. And the four false gods, fearing the fires of hell, went about crying out, I am not the true Brahma. I am not the true Buddha. I am not the true God. I am not the true Christ. For they had hoped thereby to save themselves. But alas for them, their thousands of millions fell upon their heavenly cities, palaces and thrones, and robbed them. And when their fury found vent, behold, the vast multitudes rushed for the false gods and fell upon them, beat them, suffocated them with foul smells, covered them up with suffocating gases, walled them in with sulphurous fires. And they brought the officers and priests and monks and high officers and everybody that was helping y'all pull these shenanigans and pull the wool over our eyes and put all the bananas in all our tailpipes. Get all them too. Get all of them. Every last one of them. Men, women, and children. And they brought the officers and priests and monks and high officers and cast them into hells also, millions and millions of high ruling angels of the false gods. Thus were these four false gods hemmed in, even within their own dissolute kingdoms, and every day and every hour grew more terrible. It was the infuriated madness of 60,000 million deceived angels, broken loose from slavery, turned upon them. Then Jehovah's God, true God, from paradise went forth in a ship of fire, brilliant past the endurance of Druhas, went forth with 10 million high in the grades from the realms of Aroku and Hariva, well disciplined for the purpose. And on the ship and on the banners thereof were inscribed these words: There is but one great spirit, Jehovah. To assimilate with him is the salvation of mortals and angels. He crieth out, Come unto me. My kingdoms are ample unto all the living. Be ye strong in resurrection, for I am come to deliver. And God gathered them in from the highest grades of the disrupted heavenly kingdoms, 13,000 million homeless angels who had been worshippers of the four false gods. And God had them sent to Luana on the plateau of Hephaestos, where he officered them in colonies with places for education and labor. God said unto them, Ye hope to ascend to Jehovah's highest kingdom by prayers and confessions to false gods. Behold, I say unto you, there is no resurrection but by developing the talents Jehovah created unto all men. Go ye to work, therefore, and to places of education, that ye may become fit companions to Jehovah's exalted angels. You ain't getting nothing special. What you got to do, everybody got to do. The Father desires that all of you raise up, become educated, learn about who you are, learn about who He is. His kingdom's all over the universe, right? Okay. Well, we are at chapter 16. Yep, and if you're reading the lowest edition, chapter 16 or chapter XVI, the subtitle under the chapter is God Delivered the Four False Gods Out of the Four Hills. And that's on page 658. If you're reading from the Romance of the Red Star on the actual document, not the PDF number, the document number at the top of the page at the top right is page 567. And it's here where it begins at the top where it says the cycle of S, right? This is where the cycle of S begins. And it just finished the cycle of Lika with the last chapter. So I noticed that the other day as we were reading through how it changed at the top. But it doesn't say that here in the Lewis edition. It's a little different. Most of the words are the same, but we just going through it line by line. All right. Here is chapter 14. Cycle of S. Okay, where we at? 28 minutes. We'll read this last chapter and then we'll pause. Okay. Key, shalom, shalom. Okay, it is amazing first time. Okay, cycle of S. Now was God, Jehovah's Son, master of the whole earth and her heavens. The light of the ark of Cosmon had fallen on the throne of God. Jehovah's Orion chiefs from the emancipated heavens had come. Paradise was like a new kingdom. 1,000 million Etherians had arrived to labor with God in clearing away the hills of the lower heavens and in providing for the opening the gates of the heavens for the angels to appear unto mortals. Mathazi, goddess of Alifad and the roads of Lu and Ethera, had brought back the armies of the Inquisitions. Hativi, goddess of the Lucian swamps and Wasatile plains in Ethera, was there with massacred of Bagan god. Monetesian, goddess of Tusia, of Tussa, Tusha, it looks like Russia, but it's a T, of Tussa was there. Goddess of Tussa was there. Nor Norwathchissa, goddess of the forest of Nydia and Ethera, were there. Besides these, there were 46 other goddesses, each with a host of angels who had in ancient times striven against Jehovah in favor of some false god. But now, in the coming of Cosmon, behold, they returned as pure and exalted gods and goddesses. They had all this time to be cleaned up and they started to actually rise. So now they are pure lights and coming back to help those of us who have been led astray while we've been here, right? That's beautiful. Listen. But now in the coming of Cosmon, behold, they returned as pure and exalted gods and goddesses. And God, Jehovah's Son, called forth all these one time persecutors, and he said unto them, behold, there are 4 great hills, and 6 smaller hills, and 14 still smaller hills, still existing in these lower heavens. Since ye were cast into hells, and afterward delivered by the angels of Jehovah, go ye now and deliver the hells of these heavens, and bring ye the chief false gods before me. My marshals will allot to you the respective places I have appointed unto you. Now I know we talked about this before when we read through this a few months back, right? Listen. So you know how, well, let's just use the Bible. I know a lot of other religions do it, right? They have this place, whatever they call it, whether it's purgatory, is hell, whatever, right? It's not the creator that created this place. It's your own ratchet, disembodied brethren and sisterin, right? It's the false gods, but it's also the slaves who have been led astray, who are disembodied, that have become their servants. When they pass on, when they get mad with them, they cast them into the hells. It's them, the false gods and their slaves. Those are the ones that are creating the hells, right? Those in line with the creator, the lines of light, when they come, they're bringing rods of water and rods of fire to separate the people, right? Or to separate the spirits, because when it's time to come to deliver them, and nobody burns in hell forever, y'all. That's a threat by false gods and his minions, right? As we see if you read through the Bible, if that's the only thing you read and you sporadically read it, you'd never be able to pick that up. You would absolutely never be able to pick it up, because you ain't even be able to, you haven't yet begun to put the pieces together and hear the tonality changes of the different voices that's speaking all throughout the scriptures, right? But it's the false gods and his, like I said, minions, or those who have become enslaved to him. When they die in their flesh, and when they pass on into eternity, it's them. When they realize, after many years of serving them and leading others astray here, having them worshiping, like the Father don't want us doing this worship all day. He wants you to grow, right? So you can begin to experience all those things that he's created for us for our further growth and development, right? False gods want to keep you here. This is what they rule over, right? You call them Satan, whatever name, I don't care. It's still the same thing. Just depending on where you come from, they're using different names and stuff, right? So it's them that's creating this, and it's them that's threatening to send you to hell, hellfire, all of this stuff. That is not the creator. That is not the creator. Listen. Behold, there are 4 great hills, and 6 smaller hills, and 14 still smaller hills, still existing in these lower heavens. Since ye were once cast into hells, and afterward delivered by the angels of Jehovah, go ye now and deliver the hells of these heavens, and bring ye the chief false gods before me. My marshals will allot you to the respective places I have appointed unto you. Then went forth the gods and goddesses, as appointed by God, to deliver the 24 hells of the heavens of the earth. And they took with them unto this labor 6,000 million angel laborers, well skilled in such matters. And in 34 days, the hells were delivered. 34 days. That's how well trained these angels of light, those in line with the creator, it took them 24 days. And then, I'm sorry, and then 34 days. And in 34 days, the hells were delivered, broken up and gone. And from these hells, there were thus delivered more than 70,000 million angels who were carried to the plateaus prepared for them by God, Jehovah's Son. Remember, God is a title for the highest ranking angel over the earth currently and the heavens, the earth, and her heavens, right? Gets the title God, but it's also interchangeable with son. And if it's a woman, it's daughter, right? And she gets the term goddess. And God had also provided unto them in their new heavenly places divisions and subdivisions with generals, captains, overseers, and such other officers necessary to prevent them running into knots and hells again. Of the false gods and goddesses thus delivered and brought before God in paradise for judgment, the chiefs of them were Luamung, Kabalactes, Inochessa, Gabriel, Baal, Ashtaroth, Dagon, Ashdod, Yotimas, Sathias, Goluth, Plutoya, Itis, Hamgad, Moach, and Hor. Besides these, there were 70 other false gods and goddesses delivered, but who were not brought before the throne of God, but were sent to hospitals because they were in chaos. God had previously provided paradise through his holy council for the time of the judgment of the false gods that were brought before him. So the holy councils were formed in crescent, so that the throne of God lay betwixt the horns thereof in order to promote the voice. Remember, the voice is true creator, the voice of the true creator. The marshals then brought forth the false gods and goddesses into the arena of circle where the light should fall upon them. And this right here is what we're going to pause at today. So we'll get into that. And we learn a little bit about the judgment that true creator gives into all these shenaniganizers, right? Even in his judgment, he's just. And he pretty much allow you, let's not say that. I think that's the wrong words. He cleans you up and gives you back the kingdom that you took, that you had, that you thought was yours, that now you didn't want anymore. It's like, you don't get out of this that easy, son, daughter. Now you got to go put out all the fires you done started. All these people you done led astray, you have to re-educate them with the bright light, with true light, right? And when everybody is brought up to your level of understanding, where everybody knows that there is higher heavens, there is more education, you can continue to grow and develop, and you are not where everything stops, then all of you can rise to the next level together, right? How long were they in hell? You know what? I think as we get further, that's when it tells us that. I believe, don't quote me, but I believe, I guess when they start, hold on. I remember reading it, not right now, but I think as they began to go through each individual God is going to let us know how long they were in the hell knot or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So also something, look, all the ones, so even here in the Cosmon era, right? Even here in the Cosmon era, Great Spirit, Shalom, Shalom, hey son. It says something. Good morning, son. Good morning. Okay.
Did you do your morning thing up there at the building too?
No. Right here it says, and remember this is the beginning of Cosmon, where it's about to start. And so in here, all of these false gods, right? All of these ones, including Luamung, the false Christ, all of them was called up. So what I'm thinking now, if we're looking at according to this, they are I'll just put it in these words. They aren't I would say they aren't necessarily ruling. Well, according to this, they aren't ruling in the false god position anymore. Like as of today, like our January 2023, they're actually at this point trying to clean up their messes, and Luamong is amongst them. It says it right here.
Oh, so
If
they're
this
clean up the mess that they brought
right,
all of us?
but it's then gone. People that ran amok down here, and they trying to.
They said, okay, the inside joke kind of got a little too far. We're sorry. We understand.
Yeah, so but everybody, the mortals are still running amok like, no, G, we got a savior and that's who we worshiping. No, listen, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm that dude. I'm not really. See, I led y'all astray. So I'm trying to teach y'all the right way. No, get out of here. You're false. Now they call the false Christ false. But he's letting you know he was false, but now he's true, trying to clean up the messes, right? So yeah, so I would say they're in, what word can I use? The false gods are in remission, right? And they're trying to clean up the messes, but it's hard trying to break habits of people who are power hungry. No. I think people who are I don't know. It's like an oxymoron. People who are faithful, right? Because people. Okay, so listen.
People with a monkey.
Listen, no. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but at this point, it's become a bad thing because they truly believe that what they're doing. Like it's people, like they will argue down, like over the name of, and not to be disrespectful to anybody, right? Because I know here in Cosmon, a lot of people believe that when they say the name Jesus, that they're truly talking to the Creator, right? And there are those who are, they're just ignorant of the name, right? But the Creator doesn't look at things like we do, right? Because I was one of them ones who was using the name Jesus all the time, and Creator didn't he didn't really mind it because he was still able to talk to me and lead me and guide me throughout my life, right? So in my heart, I believed I was talking to true Creator, right? And because of, I would guess, I would say like the innocence of my heart, and not just me, but a lot of us here, right? That's how a lot of us woke up. That is exactly how all of us here woke up, right? And we just began to see the truths that been hidden in front of our face, and it's like, man, like we have really been deluded, and we began to bring the separation, understand that they are those who are false, some who are truly deluded but think that they're not, but their heart is pure, right? If that makes sense. Like it's kind of like how we were. And so they out here, they doing things in the name of Jesus, and they praying for people. They doing good works. They helping the poor on the streets. They're creating ministries, outreaches to help people. And like those are really activities and the heart of those people who are full of light, right? You know, which is why they have a lot of good things that happen for them. There's this flow of, I guess I say, this flow of grace in their ignorance, and things still happen because the hearts are pure, even though, you know, they don't quite understand all the shenanigans that have happened behind the scenes, you know. And here, let me just say it like this. It matters, but in a way, it doesn't. Right, yeah, but in a way, it really doesn't. Right, that's why I realized I really needed to cut some people some slack, because here in this era, all things that are upside down are being turned right side up. Yeah, you can have it. And so some of them may never know, like seriously, because there's been multiple people that is already going to the grave, like worshiping Jesus, but like their hearts were pure, thinking that they were worshiping the Creator, and they get results from their prayers and everything, and the Father shows up for them, even though they're calling ignorantly wrong names. I look at that, to me, how I understand that to be is like children, like children, how, you know, sometimes children, they may call you the wrong name, but they looking at you, or you got other kids with other mamas and daddies, but they hear your kids calling you mama and daddy. So, you know, and kids are kids, they can call you mama and daddy too. And some people, boy, I ain't your daddy, or I ain't your mama, there's your mama over there. Right? It's kind of like that's what everything looks like to me. Right? Because they was born, oh, this is father's. Okay, all right, so Father God, they're just mimicking what they saw. Right? But as you grow up, like, oh, yeah, well, I knew you weren't my mama, my daddy, because I knew that was my mama and my daddy. But you know, everybody else is calling you this, so that's what I called you, right? It's, you know, it's kind of like that to me.
The thing, this is what I wish for.
Hold
because
on.
of whatever
Prince,
the
shalom,
false gods
shalom.
had going on, you had the two groups that ran with it that are now controlling everything.
Well, yeah, I would still say they still control them. They trying to, everybody trying to clean up their mess and Cosmon, but
the human side.
the human side.
You have
the humans like
crazy
nothing. Nope, we in charge. Jesus still rules and reigns. Oh, okay, whatever. I mean, I get what you're saying, but not really. But okay.
They're the crazy faces that will probably go as far as destroy everything just to get this glimpse of the Creator to come back. And then you also have the power hungry. Oh yeah, nah, we enjoy making other people slave and us having all this money and doing things behind the scenes. You got those two groups right there.
Yeah, and
they're both terrifying.
Yeah, they're there a lot. Okay, beautiful people. People getting you shout outs. Jeremiah Shebrew said, "What's up?" Okay, he said, "What's good?"
Where is the sauce?
I like that, Tabitha. I like that. Yes, I agree with that. Even more so today than I ever have during my waking up periods, right? She said, it's not so much about the names of the creator, it's about the love for the human family. That's true worship. Yes, you said that perfectly, right? And loving one another. Because there's some people out there, like they do, right? So y'all gotta cut them some slack. Cut them some slack, right? Cut them some slack. And operate how creator teaches us to operate, right? And some of them are like they got some hang-ups just like we do, right? We all still learning, we all at different levels, going through earth school and spiritual school, right? Well, Auntie said, glad you survived the weekend, Jeremiah, while we was gone. Well,
the kid that's see, if I'm in the house alone, I am perfectly fine. I can make my own food, everything, but now if there's children involved.
Yeah, so Jeremiah be fine by himself. Elijah, of course, his kids come every weekend, so Jeremiah just kind of seclude himself anyway. You ain't got to worry about Jeremiah going hungry. Jeremiah gonna get down here. Jeremiah gonna cook. He know recipes. He be looking on Pinterest, whatever he want. Like he learned how to do a lot when he went plant based. He started looking up the recipes, trying different stuff. Yeah, he gonna do his own thing. He gonna be okay. All right, y'all. Let's go over here. Like now he's pulling out mushrooms, this Alfredo sauce, seasonings, garlic. You making this before you leave to go to work? Oh, he said, yeah, just real quick. All right, y'all. Yeah, he gonna be all right, Auntie. Elijah, on the other hand, hey mom. So you said, I see why you be in the kitchen all day. Okay, so how do you make this? I'm like, don't you have a phone? You know, no, he do pretty good though. He really do. You know, he done got a whole lot better. He had to. He got them kids every weekend. So, all right, y'all. So go back to Field Guide to the Spirit World. We have 48 minutes. So we're gonna read a couple more pages. I'm gonna reread this page that we read yesterday because we only really read the 2 paragraphs. There's 3 paragraphs on the page, but we're gonna go through that and probably get to probably stop on page 226. Possibly. That might be our stopping point. We'll see when we get there. Okay, page 222. Gus Cowhill, 1965, page 194, elaborated on this phase of Egyptian life. Quote, the Druhas, the angels of darkness, gained great power over the land, dwelling in mortal guise, rotting the moral foundation of the people. Because of the delusion of reincarnation, the spirits of the dead had no desire for any higher heaven but to return to the earth and there regain the physical life. Sometimes dozens or even 100 such souls of darkness would live and die in the same physical shell, so that the people of Egypt suffered mental diseases and their bodies became corrupt because of the foulness of the Druhas with whom they lived, and the people became idlers and vagrants. Immortality in the flesh, then, is not a new but a very old idea. Wherever it is found, it thrives on the same philosophy, the opinion that there is no higher heaven, no other place to go, no other field of action than right here on the earth, until they realize that there is. Then the false gods start crying out, I am not the true Brahma. I am not the true Christ.
But these false gods, what are they?
Well, they're in remission right now. Being well, you people call them angels. They were
so
once
they're from higher dimension.
Well, you can call. Okay, so listen, pause before we start getting into all the dimensional talk. They were once humans, just like we are.
No, that part. They
Right,
were once mortals. I'm just asking.
Right. So when they die, they become fully spirit. Right. So some of them originated here on the earth, some of them in other places. Yes. We're not getting into all that because this is specifically about our time. We ain't really got to worry about them because we got enough history here with the earth.
I just want to know who came over. I just want to know what is dabbling, who's dabbling, and what's going on, and what's soon to happen. Because it's new.
It is a new year. Quote, they know no other life than to continue engrafting themselves on mortals. They could not be persuaded that Ethera cosmos was filled with habitable worlds. End quote. Owaspi, Book of Bond, chapter 14, verses 12 through 13. And so for the Egyptians and others, embalming. I forgot to post that video with them people digging up their dead relatives.
Oh my God, what?
It was so busy yesterday. Okay. Video. Okay. All right. They could not be persuaded that Ethera cosmos was filled with habitable worlds. End quote. Owaspi, Book of Bond, chapter 14, verses 12 through 13. And so for the Egyptians and others, embalming and mummifying became de rigueur in order to prepare for regaining their natural bodies and dwelling again on the earth. The now extinct Guanche people of the Canary Islands seem to have imbibed these pathological ideas from the Egyptians. These islanders customarily preserve the remains of their dead, fearing that the disintegration of the body would preclude their immortality. Hence, the embalmed mummies found there, though in very poor condition. Quote, it is astonishing that none of them weigh more than 6 or 7 pounds. End quote. Listener, 1962, page 188 through 189. Even more astonishing that people would believe that a dried out, ghastly, shrunken corpse could be brought back to life. Surely these bones cannot live again. That's what we paused at yesterday. But common sense or sound reasoning have been known to play a minor role. No, we didn't. We stopped at the bottom of the page. No, we didn't. Hold on. Coin the phrase. No, we paused after this paragraph. But common sense or sound reasoning have been known to play a minor role in popular beliefs, especially when the credo offers some kind of feel-good consolation. To find a captive audience, deceiving spirits need only to play to human vanity, ignorance, or fear, like Shreherazade, Scheherazade, who told dazzling fables only to keep herself alive. The spirits of reincarnation chased away the specter of death, every man's bugbear, with the promise of renewable life on earth. Even very smart people get sucked in. The oldest con in the world, reincarnation, is curiously contagious. As England's professional magician, the distinguished James Webster put it, quote, this grotesque philosophy has hit the streets of every major European city. The illusion is as perfect as that of a clever stage magician who has his audience in his hands, spellbound. For many, this is the coin, the currency in which the doctrine of past lives is sold. Fascination, per se, pandering to frankly narcissistic craving. As any psychiatrist, one of the hallmarks of narcissism is intolerance of boredom, addictive search for novelty. The narcissist gravitates to rousing, thrilling schemes, flights of fancy, or almost any antidote to prosaic humdrum existence. Even if she is merely amused by it, that is sufficient reason to embrace it, to entertain it. The more sensational, the better. Answering to the flamboyance is so typical of NPD. Society itself, especially in America, is awash in this syndrome. The media more geared toward the shocking or scandalous report than to solid news. The attention getting ploy, the hype is as American as apple pie. Style trumps substance, easily engaging the narcissist who specializes in fraudulence, deception, manipulation, grandiosity, exhibitionism. No theory is too startling. The more mind boggling, the better. Common sense is such a bore, we would rather be amazed. And this is why social media is so popular today, because you can get doses of, yeah, dope. I was about to say serotonin, doses of dopamine in mass quantity, like almost non-stop by scrolling. Listen, I know when we have fun events and stuff, we like to share with family and post on social media. But I started realizing, I was like, I'm gonna just post these pictures. Then I was going through all the millions of pictures that I had, choosing and picking ones. I was like, wait a minute, I have spent almost all day trying to upload these pictures, and while we was like traveling back or whatever. But I'm like, you know what? And when I put it down, when I put my phone down, like I felt like so drained. I was like, this is this shouldn't be happening, right? And I know everybody has felt that in social media, which is why a lot of people, they take social media breaks and they go dark, they cut it off, because you gotta regain your, let's just call it, regain your sanity, so to speak, right? Because you will lose time in social media, right? But social media, what's that the channel where they always showing fights, World Star, like all of these things. People, if it's boring, don't nobody want to see that, right? But if it's mass murderer, shut up, and everybody tuning into the news all over the world, like everything, it has to be some kind of spark to it. It got to perk up our ears. That's why most news is negative, because it keeps the ratings up. People thrive on those type of things that, like, just go look at it. Put in, you can, it
causes your brain to release a certain chemical,
yeah,
like dopamine. And that's the reason why people have motivational problems, all that type of stuff, because you have a constant stream of dopamine being shot to your brain and that throughout your body. And now, when you don't have it, you feel like, I don't really like this, it's boring, and that's not how things are supposed to go. You're naturally not supposed to have dopamine being shot through you 24/7. That's a problem.
Yeah, he said that's a problem.
That's the reason why a lot of like people that don't like social media is trying to stop it, because it's a real problem. If you get rid of that, a lot of the world's problems get solved fast.
It really would, and we could really, we could all just get along, right? Well, you got constant dopamine drips. Jeremiah said that's a problem. It truly is, right? It truly is. It is.
Think about you trying to stop a drug. Let's say it's a type of cocaine or something, but you keep having those drips and drips and drips.
You're gonna constantly stay high.
Yeah, it's just something you don't want.
Okay, y'all. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, common sense is such a bore. We would rather be amazed. Sleep. But this is ego speaking, not our better judgment. This is narcissism writ large. Awesome wins the day, while sober, humble, and guileless fact fades to dark. Fertile soil for the advancement of falsehoods of every stripe. In the age of Thor, some 15,000 years ago, quote, mortals who were obsessed believed themselves to be the reincarnation of Thor or Apollo. And so great and so great became the superstition of the nations that in the fall of a leafy day they found proof of the second coming. All corporal worlds passed through the age of too much belief, then into utter unbelief, and then again he goeth to the other extreme, believing all things and not using his judgment. End quote. Owaspy, Book of Thor, chapter 6, verses 2 through 4. Reincarnation unabashedly revolves around self, or should I say selves with the S. Sequentially, of course, it feeds the narcissist's it feeds the narcissist's premier sense of self, vanity per se. Here is a doctrine, a religion for some, that assures the perennial return of your favorite personage, me. Diagnostic of MPD are the fantasies of greatness. No, I'm not about to type that in while I'm doing this because that's going to take me a few minutes. No, I'm not. That's the same thing. I might as well type it in. Diagnostic of MPD are fantasies of greatness or honor or being special. Some folks may not achieve it, but they were somebody important in a past life. Take Eric C., for example, a narcissistic paranoid killer offended by his grandmother. I'm sorry, not offended. He offed his grandmother. Offed his grandmother, who thought he could, quote, save the world, end quote. Found not guilty by reason of insanity, Eric was actively psychotic and had been, quote, told, end quote, that before he was born, he was Jesus Christ. Okay. I'm about to keep my comments. I was about to say.
I'm be honest, I don't like death sentences, but when it comes to a point, if your tally count, you just gotta be removed from the earth. You need to be let go, and you need to see the other side to get better, because we can't help you. Because
Jeremiah said,
the people on the other side can help you better than we can.
Jeremiah said, "What'd you say? I don't believe in the death penalty."
I don't
listen. Listen, Jeremiah said, "Listen, I don't believe in the death penalty." He said, "But at some point, we just gonna need to release you from the earth because they can help you on the better side more than we can help you over here on the earth."
Listen, don't do it. We can help you still. Apparently not, because what? Psychosis is incurable. So, I don't know how you're gonna do it.
Listen, okay, look, okay, so there's a figure up here, figure 10.1, and it's a coin with Saddam Hussein's picture on it. It says, Saddam Hussein, obsessed with the idea of rebuilding Babylon, believed himself to be the reincarnation of King Nebuchadnezzar II. He invested more than 500 million in developing his pet project and had a seal struck depicting an image of himself side by side with the ancient tyrant. And so if you have this book, you can see it. I'm gonna hold it up. Huh?
You know what the top is at to this?
I don't. No, I don't. Okay, can you see that? All right. Y'all see that clearly? Okay. Look, they did something like, didn't they do something? I gotta go back and look at it. I think they did something like that with the no, let me just not get a people sidetracked. I'm just not gonna do it. I was about to talk about King Cyrus and a previous president, but I'm not gonna do it. All right. Hold on. Found guilty. Yeah, found guilty. Found not guilty by reason of insanity. Eric was actively psychotic and had been, quote, told, end quote, that before he was born, he was Jesus Christ. Further details suggest that Eric was in the grip of demonic possession, logorrhea, self-mutilation, violent shaking fits, migraines, attempted suicide. Priscilla Ford, who killed 6 people, bystanders, when she deliberately rammed her car into a crowded sidewalk shared with Eric C. The distinction of having once been Jesus Christ. Hold on, let me read it again. Priscilla Ford, who killed 6 people.
Well, she ran over him because of that quote he said.
No, she did it. She didn't even know. He said, so she ran over him because of that quote he said. No, listen.
So this completely has nothing to do with the quote. She wasn't even there. She just ran into him by accident.
Yeah, no, her natural spirit was in advance. Some other spirit that has reincarnated itself or pretty much possessed her body
and
was
directly targeted him.
Listen, this is what it says.
That's what I call pigment.
Priscilla, you would think if you was Jesus Christ in a previous life, you get some slack on your next lives, right?
Yeah, no. Whatever spirit that was sitting there, he was like, "Yeah, I'm testing this out."
Listen, no, this is what it says. Priscilla Ford, who killed 6 people, bystanders, when she deliberately rammed her car into a crowded sidewalk, shared with Eric C. the distinction of having once been Jesus Christ. She had also been Adam, and in her current reincarnation, she was an instrument of God.
Wait, what?
That's what I just said in my mind. Wait, what? They ain't look. Listen, don't do that. They ain't gotta be white, like, because there's some black people that's crazy now too.
But this is like, I'm gonna be honest.
They crazy from all walks of life. It don't matter what color they are.
But you don't really see this certain
Listen, that's what I thought till we had the Walmart massacre. When I saw, let's not get into it. I'm just saying, people, black people being crazy too. They just don't show it. But I talked about it. All kind of drive-bys and shootings and stuff in the hoods, the ghettos. Listen, okay, all right, let's get serious, y'all.
Somebody gonna be saying that. Oh, so you think you're better than me?
No,
she said it like that.
Listen. Let's keep this in context. Priscilla Ford, who killed 6 people, bystanders, when she deliberately rammed her car into a crowded sidewalk, shared with Eric C. the distinction of having once been Jesus Christ. She had also been Adam, and in her current incarnation was an, quote, instrument of God, end quote. Markman and Bosco, 1989, page 340 to 41. Richard Chase, the notorious vampire of Sacramento, 6 kills, thought he lived before and had ridden with Jesse James. Another killer in our rogues gallery, the shoemaker, thought he had. Listen to this. The shoemaker thought he had been a butterfly in a previous life.
Okay, this is where I head out. Love you, beautiful people. This is just not.
He said, "Okay, this is where I head out."
If I get up there,
right, Tabitha.
Look. When I get up there, and they'd be like, "All right, we need you to help so and so," and they one of these people. I'm gonna look at them like, "You really doing this to me right now, bro?"
Yeah, we be giving our ashars or today's term guardian angels a run for their money. Like they had all kinds of conversations. First of all, dude think he was a butterfly in a previous life, right? And we all know there weren't any previous lives. Like he's really out there. That's what I said, Tabitha. How could Priscilla be Jesus and killed like that? That's what I said. Like you would have think because his previous life being Jesus the Christ, he would have got some slack in his next lives to come. No.
Thing about Jesus Christ.
Hit with a car. Listen, catch the irony of this. Hit by a car by a woman who said she was the instrument of God. So wouldn't that be God taking out his son?
Didn't she say she thought she was Moses?
No. She had been Adam in a previous life. Adam. Yeah, Adam. All right, not listen, and not to make fun of people because people, this is really happening to people, right? But it's funny. Like I'm not laughing at them, but it's funny to believe that we could be this deluded and like we can really be. All right, son, love you. Drive safe. All right. Is it Elijah Mustard? Is his truck out there?
No, he got shipyard trains there.
Right. So he. All right. Cool. All right. James. I'm sorry. Nope. That was the end of that sentence. Okay. We're on page 225. Another killer in our rogues gallery, the shoemaker, thought he had been a butterfly in a previous life. Rod F., Florida's teenage vampire killer, bright but deranged, encouraged his followers to recall, quote, their past lives together in France, end quote. He bragged about being able to, quote, channel the spirits of Shakespeare and Plato and revive ancient prophets, bringing them back from the dead, end quote. Now we saw these type of shenanigans being pulled in a waspy. I forget who it was and what book it was in. Um, oh man, we're gonna get back to it. But he was saying, um, it was somebody who didn't believe that he was who he said he was, and he said, "Will you pay me this sum of money, and I'm able to conjure up such and such spirit?" Right, and so this went on for like a few days. I forget exactly how long, but every time this person who didn't believe called up this, he said, "Well, bring up such and such." But the guy that he was talking to was really well advanced. Uh, I ain't gonna say well advanced spiritually, but more advanced spiritually than most mortals. And he knew some tricks of the trade to really fool humans. And so that's what he did. But at the end, I think the mortal, was it? I don't want to say it was Brahma in like his early days, but it was somebody, but at the end, who realized at the end that it was, or it could have been him telling him that he fooled him all along. I forget which way the story went, but it's in here. I forgot where it's at. I'm gonna have to look for it. Okay, listen. Thoth, was it Thoth in the story of Zarathustra? Okay, it's one of them, y'all. I don't remember, but I remember the story. All right, okay, listen. He bragged about being able to, hold on, let me go back up. Rod F., Florida's teenage vampire killer, bright but deranged, encouraged his followers to recall, quote, their past lives together in France, end quote. He bragged about being able to channel prophets. I'm sorry. He bragged about being able to channel the spirits of Shakespeare and Plato and revive ancient prophets, bringing them back from the dead, end quote. Rod's girlfriend thought, quote, that she and Rod had lived before together as vampires, end quote. She said, quote, in your past lives, you live the same existence with the same people. The whole point of life is to go on a quest to find those same people again. End quote. Jones, 1999, page 162, 130, and 267. Then, too, there was the testimony of Herb Mullen, who killed a total of 13 people as a necessary sacrifice to, quote, save the environment, end quote. His parents' reincarnation beliefs, Herb said later, had warped his development. They thought that curbing their son's enjoyment of life, quote, would improve his birth position in the very next life, end quote. Lund, 1976, page 66. This last brings us to the subject of karma. Perhaps you are familiar with the notion of karma, which the reincarnationists have co opted to buttress their contention that our deeds from past lives carry over, often in the way of payback. Under this scheme of karmic debt, our current suffering or failures can be blamed on the transgressions or sins we committed in a previous reincarnation. But here again, the narcissist bias lies concealed. Consider only the NPD strategy under, quote, sense of entitlement, end quote, that typically places blame elsewhere, leaving our own reputation intact. Lightening the load of personal accountability, the past life focuses, the past life focus conveniently turns away from here and now issues. Let me read that again. This last brings us to the subject of karma. Perhaps you are familiar with the notion of karma, which the reincarnationists have co opted to buttress their contention that our deeds from past lives carry over, often in the way of payback. Under this scheme of karmic debt, our current suffering or failures can be blamed on the transgressions or sins we committed in a previous incarnation. But here again, the narcissist bias lies concealed. Consider only the NPD strategy, quote, under sense of entitlement, end quote, that typically places blame elsewhere, leaving our own reputation intact. Lightening the load of personal accountability, the past life focus conveniently turns away from here and now issues. Quote, reincarnation has robbed man of his personal responsibility, reducing him to a state of spiritual impotence, end quote. Justin Titus, Eternal Progression, which is absolutely true. Same thing, but in Christianity and other religions, it tilts it to the other end of the spectrum, right? And it's placing all your cares upon Jesus, leaving you without any kind of responsibility, not doing nothing, just sitting, waiting back, sitting, except for you sitting back, waiting for him to come and save you from all your woes and even just take you up off the earth, right? It makes you responsible as you just not doing nothing. And I know this poor English, like you don't have any type of responsibility. You haven't taken responsibility for your actions, which is what Creator is teaching us all the time, right? You are accountable for yourself, not nobody from a previous life, neither from one to come, right? What about here and now? Because we only live in the here and now. We don't live in yesterday. We can't get till tomorrow until tomorrow comes. And when tomorrow comes, tomorrow is always today. We always live in today. We're always trying to find a reason to elude what's happening today, when this is a space where it's clear as day that this is where we play, right? Today is where we play. We have to deal with the woes of today, right here. We can't change anything, right? Tomorrow never comes. And when it does, it's still today. Quote, reincarnation has robbed man of his personal responsibility, reducing him to a state of spiritual impotence. End quote. Justin Titus, Eternal Progression. And we're going to pause right here. All right, beautiful people. We're going to pick this back up on page 225 right here tomorrow. I hope y'all enjoyed it today. First day, having Jeremiah back, giving his input on what we read while he walking out the door to go to work. All right, beautiful people. It is Monday, January the 9th, 2023, day 310 of year 4, reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count, it is day 1329. Remember, that is the days we have been present with the exception of the Sabbath, right? And the week that I took a hiatus, right? Because I had to recuperate. Today we read from Romance of the Red Star. Let me put this here. That's why I keep forgetting the name. We read from the Romance of the Red Star, which is another name for Owaspy. Remember, if you're just coming in, Romance of the Red Star is another name that Owaspy was published under in 1910. It's still Owaspy, but it's allegedly actually the John Lant plates. We don't know. We're going through it, but allegedly John Lant took his plates and with a couple of friends, they actually published what was originally put out. What was originally, I'm sorry, not put out, was what was originally given to him by John Newbro. Remember, John Newbro came and got his stuff back after he realized what was in there. Nope, we don't need your services anymore. They added stuff, they changed stuff, they released bits and pieces how they wanted to, where apparently or allegedly John Lant, he didn't do any of that with the original overshadowing plates that he had on his printing press. He published it as is, right? So, but we're just going through a line by line, seeing what the difference is. All right, y'all. So we read those pages from the document, the actual document, not the PDF count, but on the actual document, there are page numbers at the top of each page. And it was page 565 to 568. Then we hopped on over here to page 222 to 225 in the field guide to the spirit world. This was pretty good. I think about my title today. There's so many little nuggets that I want to fit into the title, but I'm gonna figure it out. And I gotta catch up on my thumbnail pictures too. I just been so busy. I'm like 2 weeks behind on my thumbnails. But it is what it is. I get them caught up. With that being said, beautiful people, thank y'all for hanging out. Let me see. Nene, shalom, sis. Shalom. Nevaya, shalom. Let me scroll through this real quick. I don't think I missed any questions. So we were just chatting, talking, see if I missed anybody. And there's more people hanging out in the background. Shalom, beautiful people hanging out in the background in both places. Elijah, did I say hey? What's going on, brother? Elisa or Alicia, I forget. Is it Elisa? I'm going to just say Elisa, but it could be Alicia. I know a few Alicias and they spell it different, but some say it's Elisa or Alicia or Alicia, Alicia. I'm like, how do you pronounce it? Miss Edwards. Let me see. Oh, yeah, those were reading about the false gods. Prince Shalom. I know I said hey. Great Spirit. Shalom, shalom, people. My friends from the UK. All right, y'all. Just seeing, make sure I ain't miss nobody. Saying hey to the ones that came in. Oh, yeah, that's right. Just me, shalom. I got them. As soon as I close this, I'm gonna find that video. The where they digging up they like every year. It's like the Day of the Dead, right? They literally dig their dead relatives up and they have this whole festival. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But they believe it. They have been taught this and they just passing this foolishness down each generation. Cousin Shayla, hey girl, hey. It's crazy. All right, y'all. All right, so that's it. Father, we thank you for common sense rising back to the top. Thank you for light. Thank you for life, health, and strength for all of us and all of our brethren and sisterin all over the world. Continue to lead us and guide us in your truth, that we may be a light to others. And when we walk in the dark places, may we light it up bright. And when we leave, may the light remain. All right, y'all. I love y'all, and I see y'all back here tomorrow morning. Imagine the smell, bro. I didn't even think about that, Shebrew. Listen, because when they dig them up, some of them, I think some of them were like buried in the boxes, right? But some of them, they just wrap them in sheets or whatever. That like they dig them up, they clean the bodies up, put fresh, clean clothes on them and fresh grave sheets and stuff. And after they hold off on the grave sheets till they get all their pictures and stuff in. I'm like, imagine looking at some of them pictures. Like, who been photoshopping? Y'all be playing. Wait, it was Halloween. What event y'all preparing for? And they would get upset with you. Don't you talk about their dead mom and dead relatives. Like, they really take this seriously. Oh, Lord, I'm about to throw up. Listen, they would kiss them. And I'm just like, this is utterly disgusting. But anyway, I'm as soon as I end this, I'm gonna go ahead and look it up and share it with y'all. Yes, Jamia, have the most amazing day. Shalom. May the light remain, Jamia. I know, right, sis? I love y'all. I see y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 6:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. Right. Hey, girl. Hey.